This video is brought to you by Grandeur Warranty, your #1 online source for factory-backed extended warranties in the country. In one of our previous videos, I called this brand new GMC Yukon AT4 Ultimate the American Range Rover.
And if that's true, then it should have no problem handling a little bit of off-roading here at the Ironclads Trail.
Yeah, so how about this? How about we drive up Ironclads? We'll see. I mean, it's in the middle of winter, so there'll be some ice and some snow and some dirt. And let's see if this behemoth can actually do it.
I like that idea. Here comes Andre for the first demonstration, and we're going to see how much this Yukon AT4 will articulate as he drives through the ditch. As you can feel from the driver's seat, you're hanging tires, and like a lot of vehicles, quite a few of them on air suspension, I would say that you don't have a ton of articulation. So we're really, it doesn't take much for you to start hanging tires.
Did you go to the gym?
I did. Here, let me see if I can get you back up. Oh, yeah, there you go.
You're huge.
Yeah, not a ton of articulation, honestly, Andre. So we're getting a lot of rotation on the wheel that has no traction until that differential kicks in to get him moving forward. But it takes a second for it to work. It's a situation where a selectable rear locker would definitely be more effective, but that active limited slip differential is still able to get him through an articulated scenario like that.
For 2025, GMC updated several aspects of the new Yukon, but they left these switches alone, which is a great thing. Here I have my four-wheel drive controls. They're physical buttons, not digital. I have a knob for my modes, my ride height. This does have air suspension, and of course my light controls and cameras.
Now, part of this being the AT4 is our wheel tire package. We have a Goodyear Wrangler Territory AT. This is closing in on about a 33-inch tire, but we do have a 20-inch wheel. It's a good-looking wheel, GMC branded. It's got a little bit of a mix of some polished surfaces and some black, but it's a little bit big for what we like to see on an off-road trim. Looking underneath here in the rear, we can actually see our air struts, which is pretty cool, and this is an independent rear suspension design like all of these vehicles have now. But one thing that is not our favorite is how low these control arms hang, especially as you get towards the tire. That's going to limit your ground clearance a little bit. We do also have a couple skid plates, which is nice, and we've got red tow hooks, Tommy's favorite. Also, Andre, if we pop the hood, we have the big bad 6.2 V8. Yeah,
so they changed the styling in the front, but they did not change the powertrains. Still 420 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque. You know what I wish? I wish they would have updated the engine a little bit, right? Maybe given it a little bit more horsepower. After all, this is a premium truck that's very expensive.
That's fair, but a lot of vehicles that are getting engine updates these days are downsizing in cylinders. And if an update means them going away from a V8, not that I think they will, I would rather stick with a V8,
nice.
Even if it's the same power.
4 low engaged, off-road mode engaged, and we're approaching the steps.
Yep, and it's a little bit snowy, a little bit icy. The steps themselves are pretty dry though.
Okay.
So our traction should be good. Be interested to see how we do as far as clearance.
So I'm just lifting, I want to give myself the best chance.
Yeah.
So I'm going into the highest suspension level as well. And in the beginning of this video, I meant what I said. I mean, so GMC is really crossing into this premium space.
Yeah.
This truck, ooh, we lost a little bit of traction. This truck is over $102,000.
Which is a ton of money. Whew. It's also a 6,200 pound truck, which means if we start sliding on the ice a little bit, we might keep sliding. It's also gonna make it a little difficult to get up this hill. It feels like.
I think we're on ice. Hold up.
And we haven't even gotten to the steps yet.
Yeah.
Now look, it's something that we got to address kind of right off the bat.
Yeah.
This is not really a trail rig. It's definitely not a Bronco or Wrangler competitor.
But is it the Range Rover competitor?
It being an AT4, it is a little bit of a rugged trim, so we want to see how good it is on trail, even if most people aren't going to do that with it.
Exactly, but it's also not an AT4X.
No.
Really, the X in the GMC lineup is the more capable, really, really rugged vehicle.
And I would say this, with a more aggressive tire, would probably be pretty effective off-road, and I feel like that and the snow is kind of limiting us a little bit right now.
Yeah, we are limited. Hold on a second.
So we're doing fine with angles.
We are. Let me back up just a hair. I think we may be also limited by the tire. I mean, the tire matters a lot as well. It
does. It makes a big difference. And these Territories are good all-around tires, but not the most aggressive. And I gotta say, those are the kind of situations where selectable lockers and aggressive tires make a big difference.
It seems like it's jerky.
It is.
Right? It catches traction and then it leaps forward.
And that was true in the past of G80 rear lockers as well. This is not a G80, but it seems that this effectively works in a similar way as the G80. It will allow a certain amount of slip and then lock up and get us.
I just wish it would work sooner or faster.
Yeah, because by the time it does catch like that,
it's already
rockets you forward pretty aggressively.
This is maybe not be the ideal conditions to test this vehicle, but that's what we do, right?
Yeah.
This is real world.
Well, and the other slightly off-putting thing is that when you get rocketed forward, the moment that rear diff actually catches and gives you traction, all of a sudden then you're moving very fast over uneven terrain in a $102,000 SUV.
And you also lift it all the way up, so the suspension travel is not quite there, right? So that's why it's a little bit rocky. When you have a very expensive truck like this, and you're going to keep it for quite some time, you want to protect it and get a peace of mind. And you can do that with Grainger factory-backed extended warranty. Use the link in the description below, GraingerWarranty.com. You can be sure that OEM parts are used to repair your vehicle. You could cover various aspects, technology, powertrain, and the rest on your truck. And be sure that the work, when it gets fixed, is done at a certified location, a dealership across the country. So check them out using the link below. Check it out, dude. They redesigned the center stack of this Yukon.
And this is a very high-end Yukon, which means we've got a lot of technology, especially for off-roading. And my favorite bit of technology that we always have, no matter what vehicle we're in, is onX Off-Road.
Exactly. So we don't have any reception right now, but I downloaded the maps. We know exactly where we are because there's a lot of forks in these roads, in these trails. So this is super helpful. You could share this information with your buddies before you leave, so they know exactly which trails you're on. And also you could take a look at, like, this land is owned by the county of Boulder, so you know exactly which land you're driving on. Yeah, so it's really cool to have. So definitely check out the link to onX Off-Road. Now, we've also got a lot of other technology specific to this Yukon for off-roading, and especially one thing that GM typically does very well on a lot of their vehicles, camera views. Exactly, and it doesn't take the entire screen, but, for example, we can monitor our front tires with pretty good resolution. Unfortunately, when we look back, the resolution goes down. Yeah, exactly, because that's a little further from the cameras and the front wheels. Exactly, and then we can have a top view. I mean, you've seen this before. This is not, brand new technology, but it's nice to have. It's not brand new, but it is nice to have, especially because looking out the windshield, our sight lines are not the best. We've got a pretty tall, boxy hood here, which from the exterior makes this look like a very rugged and square-jawed SUV, but from the interior, it does limit our visibility on a trail for what we're about to drive over. Exactly, and I do have a mode selector for driving. I went to low range, for this, so I can raise my suspension all the way. And I have an off-road mode here for surfaces that require extra traction, such as grass, mud, gravel, and deep snow. Well, we have a little bit of mixture here. We're looking towards There. It's really snowed in right now.
It's very snowy. It doesn't look the iciest that I've ever seen it, but sometimes it can be a little deceiving, so we'll see.
And you have to remember, the ultimate name of this SUV refers to luxury.
Yeah.
It doesn't refer to ultimate off-roading.
No, this is a luxury vehicle first and something with a bit of off-road capability second.
Yeah.
But it is kind of a do-it-all vehicle. You can pull trailers with it, you can put the whole family in it. It's a comfortable luxury vehicle, and this being the AT4 does have a slightly more aggressive tire and the skid plates and a decent four-wheel drive system, so it should be able to do this kind of thing, and at the moment we're kind of cruising right up it.
And I think what's important, especially for snow driving, is you want to have, you know, tires grabbing some snow, and snow on snow action is actually grippier.
Yeah, you want, unlike mud, you want the tire to actually hold on to that snow.
Yeah, where with mud you want to eject it as fast as possible.
I've got to say, you know, when we're fully articulated, that's when I feel like we see some of the limitations of this four-wheel drive system.
Yeah.
However, for regular driving through the snow, or for situations where we're keeping all four tires on the ground, I actually really like this four-wheel drive system a lot.
Yeah, I think this truck is meant to get you to that ski cabin, but not probably past your ski cabin.
Yeah,
right?
Even so, it still can get you past that cabin probably good ways, depending on how bold you are about putting it in harm's way.
Yeah, dude, here's what I'm talking about. So this is an Ultimate, so it's got captain's chairs.
Yeah.
But it's still a lot of space, and we have screens everywhere.
Yeah, we've got a lot of features back here, a lot of really nice materials. I like the contrast in the seat. We've got a little bit of red on the inserts here. We've got white piping. It looks really good. Yeah, well, let me try this. So I'm sitting behind myself. See, pretty nice. I can actually slide back or forward a little bit. Right. So I have some freedom. I have this cool screen. Reminds me of the Teslas. Yeah, it's a really big screen.
It's a big screen, so you can actually control your climate control system. I mean, it's just fancy, but it's kind of nice to see that they're adding new features, right? And since these are captain's chairs, you should be able to sneak between them even to get into the third row. And Andre, if at 6'2", almost 6'3", you can fit into the third row, then it should be pretty comfortable for most people. Yeah, I can't do this in a Lexus LX. Yeah. I probably couldn't do this in the Range Rover either. Yeah, and we can even give you a little bit more or less space, like you showed. Like right now, I'm okay. Yeah, and your head is close, but you're not touching. That's pretty good. Also, just out of an abundance of caution, we have set the side steps to stay up and not deploy, just in case door opens at some point when there's a rock below us. They can make it pretty easy to select that in the screen. Like right now, like if I was to go outside, and if the step deployed, it would hit the rock right there. Yeah, which we don't want to have happen. Am I gonna hit my belly?
No, I don't think so.
How about now?
You're still good.
Yeah, and we're not taking the most aggressive line possible on this, because the most aggressive line possible on this can bottom out a two-door Wrangler.
Yeah. Still okay?
You're still okay. It's getting more treacherous, though.
I think Gavin is sweating right now. Our camera guy, Gavin.
Well, we won't make him make the call to GMC if something happens.
It's getting close.
Are we in our top height on the suspension?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to go out and take a look really quick?
And there's contact.
Okay, so I should probably back up.
Probably.
Well, might as well close the video.
Yeah. Andre, you mentioned Range Rover.
Yes.
One thing that I don't think this AT4 competes with the Range Rover in is the Range Rover's traction control. Because somehow, those Land Rover and Range Rover products are some of the few that seem to be able to design a traction control system that basically, even with open differentials, stops all of that wheel spin.
And very precisely, right?
Yeah,
does it very precisely.
Sends power, like you said, very precisely to the wheel that has traction, which just seems to struggle with a little bit. But again, there's a lot of other things that this GMC is really good at.
For example, this GMC is really good at interior comfort, volume, 3 rows of comfort for the passengers. But as we found out here, it has a little bit of a ways to progress to be really, really great off-road.
Yeah, but again, still good enough off-road to come out here on a trail and for us to have some fun, which is saying something.
Exactly.